Hi again everyone, Dwayne here on Tunes Over Twiddly Bits. Moving on with our piano lesson, focusing on the basics. Now, the last time you will recall that we went extensively through naming the notes with a focus on the white notes. We're more or less ignoring for the time being the black notes. That is very deliberate. Now, you'll recall from the last time we put labels on all the white notes. So we know that the piano is composed of one pattern, which we spoke about extensively the last time, which repeats itself over and over. Every note in the pattern appears in the same place when the pattern repeats itself, and importantly, it has the same name. So this is C, this is C. You can see it all here. C, C. They're all the same distance apart, and that applies to all the other notes as well. Now, what I would like to focus on this time is the major scale. Now, the major scale is absolute pillar stone of music, really. Everything is, in a sense, derived from that, or is a variation of that. It's the most basic construct in music, and it is vitally important for us to start there. It's also vitally important that we start in the key of C major. Now, what that means is this. If you've ever watched the song Sound of Music, you will know do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Now, that particular sound is the major scale. If you listen to the distance that you move, or the intervals between each of the notes that you play, that precise, or that you sing, I should say, in the case of the Sound of Music. If you sing that song, the distance from one note to another is called an interval, and the precise sound that you get from singing that is the sound that you're looking to play on the piano. That is what is called the major scale. So I'll sing it for you again. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Now, that same sound can be reproduced on different frequencies, starting on any of the 12 notes in this pattern. Remember, there are really only 12 different notes on the piano which repeat themselves over and over. We made that point extensively the last time. And what I'm saying is that that same sound can be reproduced starting on any note in this set of 12. But each one will start at a different pitch. Now, if you're familiar with singing, which many of you might well be, you might have sung on choirs or whatever, you will know that sometimes a song is too high for your voice range, or it's too low. So to get it to a pitch that will be comfortable for you to sing it, so that you can hit all the notes, what will be required is for the song to be played in a different key, meaning starting on a different one of these notes. So it could be that the song is usually played, for instance, in E, the scale or the key that is built on the note E, which would be this. For now, I can just go up and not bother to come back down. That may be too high for you. So what you would do, what the musician would have to do, is to change the key to a lower key. So let's try this one. This is D. You notice the difference? This was E. This is D. So if I'm singing in E, it would have to be do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Now you may notice that I was beginning to struggle with the higher notes. That's a bit too high for my voice range, so I need to drop the key. Let's try it now in D. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Still struggling. So I drop the key again to C, which is exactly where we're going to start. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's a lot more comfortable. And that's the whole point. You can get the same sound but starting at a different pitch and moving the same distance from note to note. It will give you back the same sound on a different frequency. And that's really what it means to play in a different key. Now with that said, we are focusing now on playing in the key of C major. And the reason for that is simple. You may have, if you were watching me, you would have noticed that when I played that sound or that scale in E, I had to use black notes. Let's look at it again. I've used 4 black notes to get that sound. We haven't named the black notes yet, but the point I'm making is that to get that sound starting on E, I have to use black notes. I have to use black notes, though not as many if I start on D. Look. Okay, but to get that sound, if I start on C, look at what happens. Look again. You notice that I just use white notes to get that sound in C. And I can tell you that C is the only note that you can use as a starting note to reproduce that sound, that major scale that requires you to use only white notes. If you start on any other of the 12 notes, to get that sound, you will have to use black keys, or black notes, I should say. So, obviously, if I'm going to try to get that sound starting on a black note, then clearly a black note is involved. But if I look at all the 7 white notes, other than C, so looking from D, E through to B, any one of them that I start on, I will have to use black notes. Let me go through them quickly. D, E, F, G, A, and B. Let me play that one again. You will see. So, if I start on any other of the white notes except C, to get that major scale sound, I'm going to have to use black notes, which is the point. So, it's easiest for us to start in C because we're only required to work with white notes to get that sound that we're looking for. And all we have available to us at this point in the lesson is white notes. That's all we've named. We haven't even concerned ourselves with what the black notes are called. And that is, as I said, very deliberate. So here we go. The theory tells us that a major scale has 8 notes. And that's true. The sound that we are looking for, it has 8 sounds. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So a scale is made up of 8 notes because you complete what is called an octave. An octave, you may know, means 8. So a major scale is made up of 8 notes. But here's the trick. If you look at it, you will see, as all the notes are labeled conveniently for you, you will see that when I start on C, the first one, I move to D, then to E, then to F, G, A, B, and the very last note is what? C again. So what we have is we move from one C, starting the scale, and we end up on the next C immediately following it to the right, meaning going from left to right. Remember, we read in music from left to right, and you must have noticed by now that the sounds to the left of the piano are low. That's the last one. And to the right of the piano are high. So the sounds get higher, the pitches get higher as we move from left to right. So what we say is when we move from left to right, we move from one, let's say C, to the next C following it. It means we play, what we say is that we play the C that is an octave. Octave, 8 notes higher. But here's the thing. We move from C to another C. So in terms of name, it's the same note. It's just the same note 1 octave higher. Okay? So, really what we're getting at is that even though the major scale has 8 notes, it's really only 7 different notes, meaning 7 notes, each of which goes by a different name. Because by the time you get to the 8th note, you're playing a note that you already played. You're playing the same note as the first note that you played. You're just playing that note 1 octave higher, or the next one following. Okay? Now, I hope in this lesson I've done enough to introduce the concept of the major scale to you, and also given you the basis for an understanding of changing key. Being able to sing the same song to reproduce the same sound, but starting on a different pitch each time. That will give vocalists some leeway to find a pitch that is comfortable for their voice range. And from a practical perspective, that's what's important about learning all the different scales. For those of you who had piano lessons like me and always wondered why you were learning all of these things, this is a practical application of it. The next time I'll actually get into constructing not just the C major scale and the fingering, showing you how to play the scale, but more importantly, using the actual chords, which, as I said to you, we're going to use to start learning how to play the song Jesus Loves Me. Thanks for joining me, and see you next time. Bye-bye.